and and did his family have any clue what went on in that basement? Because there were actually descriptions of having devices to suspend women from the ceiling. I mean, it was
Yeah,
just horrifying.
that's where you go back and you gotta start wondering a little bit, Asa, how do you not know that there's this stuff
How
in
do
your
you not?
basement?
Yeah, yeah, and we don't know. Maybe Asa is not the brightest bulb in the room and
Yeah.
just never went down there. But
There's a lot of
yeah,
reason. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying she was involved, but again, to be that oblivious to what's going on
yes,
literally beneath your nose to that
something is
level,
wrong. Yeah,
like, I mean,
something
maybe it
is
was
wrong.
abuse. Maybe she would get the crap beat out of her if she goes down
Yeah,
there. So she just never did. I mean, there's a lot
never
of
did.
logical reasons why she could not, or why she didn't know these things, or just was willfully ignorant for survival. I don't know. But I think there's a lot of questions
Yeah.
that still
I
need
I
to be
I call
answered
that
there.
a negative hallucination where somebody just it seems unable to see something that's right in front of them. So it could be that there's psychological problems with her. We don't know yet.
Well,
But the other thing that I thought was fascinating is that he made references with specific page numbers to John Douglas's books, the
mhm.
former FBI profiler
Yeah.
who wrote Mindhunter and several other books. And I've always said that for normal people, we read about some of these awful crimes and the awful murders, and our gut reaction is horror.
Yeah.
But there is a certain percentage of people out there who are attracted to it and find it, I want to model myself after this. And then they use some of this information to become better killers. And
Yeah.
he was clearly in that category.
That's so scary. I mean, I remember like reading How to Win Friends and Influence People, and I took a highlighter to parts because, like, ooh, these are interesting things
Yeah.
to live
Yeah.
by.
Yeah.
Many years ago, I can't imagine doing that to Mindhunter. Like, ooh, this is. I mean, unless I'm like referencing a case and it's something I'm talking about.
Right, right. It
But
shows that distorted thinking
yeah,
that, this person is a different sort of animal. This is a predator. He is not a normal human being, but he role played. These guys can be very, very good at pretending to be fine, upstanding, normal people. And it's horrifying to get into their minds. I had to eventually, in my forensic work, I had to eventually say, don't give me a sadist.
yeah.
I can handle other kinds of criminals, but sadists, it's just too disturbing for me. I have nightmares at night, and I don't need to do that.
This reminds me so much of Dennis Rader. I mean, it's like another version. Like they could be brothers. I think. I mean, in terms of what they did, the way that they were able to carry on a life of a family, and
Yeah,
nobody's the wiser for all of these years. And that's a good example there. That family there is a good example of being unaware of
yeah,
what was going on around you with this type of a criminal. It's just disturbing how similar they seem to be. And obviously we don't see a lot of these. At least we don't catch a lot of these because
right.
I think maybe catch is the operative word is because they're so good at hiding. Do you think he ever had a plan here, Rex, that he thought he would get caught at some point and what to do when that happens?
I think maybe he was grandiose enough to think he wasn't gonna get caught. He had done this for so many years. He obviously was thinking through, washing out the body cavities, everything to remove any
Yeah.
DNA. I mean, it was just, I think this was a guy who really didn't want to get caught and took great pride in his work and thought that he wasn't going to get caught. So it probably surprised him when he did.
And it's someone who did get caught. How does society get in front of some of these monsters before we discover there's this trove of, we know 6 now. I'm gonna guess we're probably in
Yeah.
the teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, maybe hundreds
Yes.
at the
Yeah.
end of the day. Um, I mean, he seemed to operate completely, unscathed without anybody knowing anything.
Yeah.
Is there a way to ever kinda get in front of this sort of thing, so they're not able to operate the way that they do and to stop it far earlier in the tracks?
Yeah, I think we are doing a really good job with catching murderers quickly. if indeed Koberger is guilty, if they did not have the forensic evidence and the ability with DNA and genetic genealogy, they wouldn't have caught him. And might he have killed more people? Yeah, in all likelihood. So there were many more serial killers active in the 70s, 80s, and even into the 90s. But once we got DNA technology, we're not seeing nearly as many. It's dropped dramatically. And so I think, let's pat the law enforcement efforts on the back because they are doing some
Yeah.
good. And we've just got to continue to, I think that's the thing about educating people about this stuff. We've got to look closely at people that we may know. Now I sound paranoid when I'm saying that, not talking about my husband, but I,
Be
I
a
think
fun
everybody.
conversation at dinner tonight, honey.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Can I look at what's on
Yeah.
your computer? You know? But I think particularly with kids, if they're into violent porn, I mean, parents be diligent. We've got to get people early on. If you see red flags in kids and teenagers, call it out, get some help. And yeah, could this have been prevented in some way? We may never know, but my God, at least he was stopped at this point.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for checking out the video. Be sure to follow us wherever you download podcasts, and especially Apple Podcasts, where you can get advanced episode and premium content on our premium channel right there. Also, be sure to follow us on social media so you don't miss any breaking updates on the stories that matter to you most. We're on TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook. Just search Hidden Killers Podcast with Tony Brueski, and you'll find us right there. Again, thanks for watching.